When everything breaks, what will you eat? True survival isn't about storing cans. It's about planting these 15 forgotten crops, botanical life rafts engineered to defeat drought, famine, and collapse. The forgotten Aztec grain, amaranth, the protein bullet. When global supply chains fracture, the first thing to vanish is reliable protein. Ancient civilizations had a secret weapon that thrives anywhere. This is amaranth, the magnificent grain the Aztecs called the food of eternity, a plant turning poor soil into a survival bank. Unlike modern cereals that demand water and fertilizer, amaranth grows with relentless speed and indifference to harsh conditions. This resiliency is why it's a doomsday crop. It can be planted in dry, degraded fields where corn and wheat fail. Amaranth's true value lies not just in its hardiness, but in its unparalleled nutritional density. Its tiny seeds hold a complete protein profile, a rare trait that includes every essential amino acid for human survival. This is the power ancient warriors used to fuel long campaigns. Growing amaranth ensures both protein and essential calories, providing an enormous yield from a small footprint. We let this indispensable grain fade, replaced by crops bred for industrial profit rather than human resilience. But the knowledge remains, locked inside every seed. The next time you see its deep red plume, you are looking at a living artifact, a testament to how human ingenuity and toughness secure the future. Yet, even this mighty grain cannot laugh at total dehydration. For that, we look to the deserts. Sorghum, the unbreakable grass of the American plains. As temperatures rise and fields turn to dust, most grains fail. One ancient African crop survives, possessing a waxy leaf coating that locks in every drop of moisture. This is sorghum, the mighty grain that thrives where others perish, a symbol of resilience asking little of the earth. Sorghum's deep, intricate root system is its superpower. Where corn roots stay shallow, sorghum's roots burrow down several feet, tapping into deeper moisture most plants can't reach. It is so efficient it can enter dormancy during severe drought, pausing growth until the rain returns, then resuming production. This built-in mechanism makes it an indispensable staple in climates defined by scarcity. It's also versatile, providing grain for flour or stalks that can be crushed into sweet survival syrup. We replace this unbreakable grass with higher maintenance, water-intensive plants. But in a future defined by unpredictable weather, sorghum offers a vital lesson. The toughest crops yield the most reliable bounty. Survival hinges on choosing the plant that laughs at drought, rather than the one that demands constant water. But water alone won't sustain 1 million people. For that, you need pure, relentless caloric output buried deep in the earth. Cassava, the silent starch that feeds a continent. In a true crisis, calories, not just nutrients, are the key to survival. Beneath abused, depleted soil lies a tuber so dense it can fuel a whole population. This is cassava, the silent starch, a root crop that feeds more than 500 million people worldwide because it survives where nearly all other staple foods surrender. Cassava is an agricultural brute, requiring almost nothing but a small piece of stem to propagate. It tolerates incredible heat, withstands long dry spells, and pulls essential sustenance from poor, acidic soils that would defeat a potato or a yam. A homesteading survivor can cultivate it on land ravaged by neglect or climate change. Its power comes from sheer output. The tubers store vast amounts of carbohydrates, making it one of the highest caloric yielders per acre. This is why it remains a backbone of survival economies across tropical regions. Of course, this incredible root demands critical knowledge. It must be prepared properly, often by soaking or cooking, to safely remove trace toxins. This requirement is not a burden. It is a vital, ancient lesson passed down through generations. Knowing the secret to preparing, cassava means holding the key to a reliable, deep storage carbohydrate source, ready to sustain a community when other food sources vanish. This root delivers sheer power. But what if your crisis demanded food in a matter of weeks, not months? Fonio, the grain that matures in 6 weeks. Imagine needing a harvest now, before disaster hits. One tiny West African grain offers a miraculous advantage. It can be planted, grown, and harvested faster than almost any other food crop. This is fonio, the miracle grain that has protected subsistence farmers from famine for thousands of years, prized for its unparalleled speed. In survival gardening, time is the enemy, but fonio beats the clock. Under optimal conditions, this resilient cereal can go from seed to edible harvest in as little as 40 to 50 days, an astonishing feat. If one crop fails, fonio offers a guaranteed safety net, a second chance harvest that can be sown mid-season. It requires little soil preparation, thrives in nutrient-poor conditions, and demands minimal moisture once established. These qualities move straight into survival necessity. Fonio offers a powerful blueprint for resilience, proving that ancient foods contain the most critical answers for the future. It stands as a vital reminder that when time is your enemy, you need a plant that can deliver a complete harvest in less than 2 months. But speed only gets you so far. What if you needed one source that offered shelter, medicine, and food all in one package? The moringa. 1 tree, 7 survival resources. In the search for survival food, we overlook simple solutions. The moringa tree is a botanical Swiss Army knife, where every part, from root to leaf, is edible and nutritious. Known rightly as the miracle tree, it is the most complete single plant a survivor could ever cultivate. Moringa is a fast-growing, deciduous tree that is a nutritional powerhouse. Its leaves can be harvested quickly, sometimes within 6 to 8 months of planting, and contain extraordinary levels of vitamin C, calcium, and iron, essential micronutrients often absent in crisis diets. Unlike grains, moringa offers dense, balanced nutrition from its leaves, pods, flowers, and roots. Its utility extends beyond food. In a contaminated world, the seeds of the moringa can be crushed and used to purify dirty water, acting as a natural flocculant that binds to bacteria and sediment, leaving clean water behind. This unique combination of rapid growth, total edibility, and essential medicinal utility makes moringa the ultimate green asset in a collapse scenario. It's a complete pharmacy and protein source wrapped into one resilient package, teaching us that the answer to scarcity is found in a perfectly evolved tree. This resource handles the tropical lowlands, but what about food that can survive on the literal rooftop of the world? Quinoa, the mountain seed built for extremes. A global collapse means volatile climates, from freezing nights to scorching days. One seed, cultivated high in the Andes, has already evolved to withstand the harshest temperature swings and thrive at high altitudes. This is quinoa, a food so vital to the ancient Inca civilization, they considered it sacred. A grain built specifically for extremes. Modern popularity painted quinoa as a trendy health food, but its true power lies in its biological ruggedness. Cultivated thousands of feet above sea level on barren mountain slopes, it handles conditions that would instantly destroy modern crops. It tolerates high salinity, endures frost better than most grains, and thrives in high winds. Andean farmers deliberately bred these qualities, ensuring a harvest when the climate was most unforgiving. Like amaranth, quinoa provides a complete protein, making it a nutritional cornerstone when meat is scarce. The Incas understood that survival hinges not on the easiest crop, but the one that refuses to die. Quinoa is a living link to the ancient wisdom, proving that the toughest, most adaptable plants are always the best investment for an uncertain future. It teaches us the wisdom of seeking sustenance in places others overlook. Pigeon pea, the nitrogen fixer that rebuilds soil. Survival isn't just about feeding yourself today. It's about ensuring your patch of dirt can feed you tomorrow. This drought-resistant legume offers high protein while secretly restoring the soil's vitality. Meet the pigeon pea, a tropical powerhouse that asks for little water and gives back far more than it takes. For centuries, farmers knew they couldn't rely on one crop. They needed a plant that could sustain them through dry spells while simultaneously healing land degraded by continuous planting. The pigeon pea serves 2 vital roles. First, its peas are a protein-rich food source, crucial when animal protein is scarce. Second, and most critical, this legume acts as a powerful nitrogen fixer. Its root nodules pull essential nitrogen from the air and deposit it directly into the soil, naturally fertilizing the ground for the next planting season. This is botanical genius, a plant that increases soil fertility rather than depleting it. The ability to rebuild the earth while also producing a dependable, high-protein food source makes the pigeon pea an indispensable asset in any long-term crisis plan. It proves that the most sustainable solution isn't found in a bottle of fertilizer, but in the intelligent rotation of resilient, life-giving plants. The Jerusalem artichoke, the plant that never dies. If you want food security, you need a plant that actively fights to survive, one that demands to be harvested. The sunchoke, or Jerusalem artichoke, is a relentless perennial that guarantees food year after year. It's the tuber that proves the best survival plants are the ones you can't get rid of. A relative of the sunflower, the sunchoke produces stalks that tower over you, but its true wealth is buried deep below. It forms enormous clusters of lumpy, crisp tubers that contain significant amounts of carbohydrate and protein. Crucially, the sunchoke is a perennial, meaning you plant it once and it returns, aggressively, for decades, even if you forget it entirely. This is a game changer for survival planning, eliminating the need for annual seed banks or constant replanting. It thrives in poor soil, ignores drought, and handles harsh winters with indifference. If you fail to harvest every piece of root, the remainder will erupt the following spring, ensuring the continuation of your food source. We consider its tenacious, spreading nature a nuisance in manicured gardens, but in a crisis, that characteristic is its greatest feature. The sunchoke is a promise from the earth, a dependable, unkillable supply of calories that guarantees your survival, even when everything else has faded away. Prickly pear, the cactus that stores life-giving water. The most critical resource in a crisis isn't food, but water. Out in the unforgiving American Southwest, one plant acts as a living water tower and an emergency vegetable. This is the prickly pear cactus, a silent sentinel of the arid lands, holding life-giving moisture within its succulent pads. When drought turns everything to dust, the prickly pear thrives, thanks to its ability to store large quantities of water within its flat, fleshy no-pales pads. For survivalists in dry climates, this cactus offers a dual solution. The pads are both hydration and a nutrient-rich vegetable. After carefully scraping off the sharp spines, the pads can be cooked, grilled, or eaten raw. They provide essential vitamins and fiber, along with that vital emergency moisture that can save a life. Entire ecosystems depend on the prickly pear, from insects seeking nectar to animals using the dense growths for shade. The prickly pear reminds us that a desert is not devoid of life, it simply stores it differently. Knowing how to safely utilize this widespread, resilient cactus is the difference between life and death in an extreme arid environment. It's a testament to nature's design, proving that survival is always possible if you know where to look. Yet, once the body is hydrated, you still need a dense, long-term calorie supply, not from a cactus, but from the forgotten legacy of the ancient mountain farmers. The Peruvian legacy, heirloom potatoes for deep storage. The modern potato is fragile, bred for shape and shelf appeal, but its ancient ancestors were a life raft. Deep in the Andes, thousands of varieties were cultivated for one thing: the ability to be stored for years, ready to stave off famine. These heirloom potatoes are the legacy of Peruvian ingenuity, a calorie source perfected for long-term survival. Today we rely on a handful of commercial varieties, but the native Andean potatoes, like the Solanum stenotomum, represent a vast library of resilience. These ancestral tubers developed natural defenses against pests and diseases that would wipe out a conventional potato field. More importantly, they were designed for deep storage. Unlike modern varieties that quickly spoil, certain heirlooms can be processed and stored in methods like chuño, or simply held deep inside a root cellar for years without refrigeration, providing reliable sustenance through lean seasons. A well-planned perennial potato patch means planting a future harvest that doesn't rely on yearly seeds. This forgotten knowledge reminds us that survival isn't about growing the largest crop, but the one that lasts the longest. The true security of the potato is not in the field, but in the earth where it patiently waits. Dandelion, the weed that hides a pharmacy. The moment you realize your lawn is actually a resilient, ready-to-eat salad bar, and pharmacy is the moment you achieve true food independence. We overlook the dandelion, that cheerful, tenacious weed, but every single part of it is a powerful resource designed for survival. The dandelion is the ultimate guarantee because it requires zero cultivation and thrives virtually everywhere, from pavement cracks to manicured gardens. This ubiquitous plant is far more than a nuisance. The young leaves offer potent, slightly bitter greens, richer in vitamins A, C, and K than most store-bought vegetables. The flowers can be eaten fresh, and the dried, roasted roots can be ground into a serviceable, caffeine-free coffee substitute. Its aggressive nature is its greatest survival strength. In a time when pharmaceutical supply chains vanish, its traditional uses as a mild diuretic and digestive aid make it an indispensable part of your living survival kit. The dandelion forces us to reconsider what is valuable. It reminds us that the most reliable sustenance is found not in carefully planted rows, but in the forgotten spaces, providing a free, fierce form of medicine and nourishment that will persist. But once you forage the weeds, how do you find a resource that grows faster than any plant on Earth to build shelter and collect water? Bamboo. The fastest growing survival resource. When disaster strikes, you need food, water, and shelter, and you need them fast. One plant, which is technically a giant grass, can provide all three and grow several feet in a single day. That plant is bamboo, the ultimate multi-tool, a renewable resource that rebuilds faster than humanity can consume it. The speed of bamboo's growth is staggering, offering near instantaneous resources in a collapse scenario. Its edible shoots provide a reliable and palatable food source, rich in fiber and minerals that can be harvested within weeks. But its strength lies in its structural utility. The mature hollow culms are incredibly strong and lightweight, making them perfect for building quick shelter, crafting tools, or constructing water collection systems and basic fencing. Furthermore, its massive root network is one of nature's best methods for stabilizing soil and preventing critical erosion, a major threat after environmental disasters. Bamboo is a living testament to efficiency, reminding us that the greatest survival assets offer versatility and renewal without fail. It proves that the most valuable building material can sometimes be the one that grows taller while you sleep. Rhubarb, the relentless herb of the backyard. A plant that can withstand a harsh winter and return every spring, even if the world forgets it, is a plant worth betting on. The rhubarb patch is the ultimate low-effort, high-reward perennial food source, a faithful survivor tucked into old gardens. Most food crops require precise timing and yearly replanting, but rhubarb is built for neglect. Its massive tuberous roots can shrug off freezing temperatures and harsh conditions that kill off delicate annuals. This makes it a crucial resource because it provides its abundant, tart stalks very early in the spring, often months before other vegetables are ready to harvest. This timing is key in a crisis, offering fresh food when winter stores are exhausted and the new growing season is just beginning. Planting rhubarb is an investment that pays dividends for decades. Some patches on old farmsteads are over 50 years old and still produce reliably. Of course, you must know the difference between the edible and the toxic. The sturdy red stalks are for pies and jams, but the large green leaves contain high levels of oxalic acid and must be strictly avoided. Rhubarb's relentless return is a quiet promise of endurance, a reliable clock keeping time with the seasons long after modern systems fail. It reminds us that sometimes the toughest survival crop is the one that simply refuses to go away. But as the cold fades, the biggest threat shifts from starvation to infection, a threat met not by a fruit, but by a powerful, pungent bulb. Garlic, the allium. With the ancient defense. In a world without modern medicine, infection is the silent killer. Fortunately, one pungent bulb, easy to grow and easy to store, carries a powerful ancient compound that acts as a natural antibiotic and immune booster. That life-saving plant is garlic, the medicinal allium cultivated by nearly every ancient civilization for its potent protective properties. Garlic's strength comes from a lichen, a sulfur compound released when the clove is crushed or damaged. This compound acts as a remarkably effective broad-spectrum antimicrobial. In a crisis scenario, where antibiotics are scarce, consuming fresh raw garlic becomes a vital, daily defense against common infections. Beyond its medicinal utility, garlic is an essential doomsday crop because it is remarkably easy to cultivate. You simply plant a single clove in the fall or spring, and the earth repays you with a full head of 10 or more cloves ready for harvest. Its durability is also key. Once harvested and cured, garlic bulbs can be braided and stored for many months, providing defense and flavor deep into the winter. We once relied on this simple spicy bulb to ward off pestilence and maintain health. The garlic bulb is a small, quiet reservoir of ancient power, reminding us that the most effective survival tool is already growing beneath our feet. Water chestnut, the clean calories of the wetlands. While most survival guides focus on dry land, a major crisis will force us to utilize overlooked environments. The water chestnut is a reliable source of clean, carbohydrate-rich tubers that thrive in wet, flooded conditions. This aquatic plant holds the key to sustenance when the land itself is too saturated to yield a crop. In scenarios involving flooding, heavy rainfall, or coastal changes, traditional crops rot, yet the water chestnut flourishes. It is a vital calorie source adapted to conditions that cause other staple foods to fail entirely. Growing underwater in muddy bogs and ponds, it produces small, crisp, edible tubers at the base of its stems. These tubers are loaded with easily digestible carbohydrates, offering the dense energy needed for survival labor. Crucially, the water chestnut protects its food source within a waterproof shell. Once harvested, the tubers have an excellent storage life and can provide reliable calories through the winter, functioning as an aquatic parallel to the root-cellar crops of dry land. The water chestnut proves that survival isn't limited to the sun-drenched field. It opens up an entirely new, often neglected ecosystem for food production, reminding us that resilience is about adapting to every environment the crisis throws at us. Don't let this essential knowledge be forgotten again. If you learned a single new survival secret today, hit that like button now and subscribe for more forgotten wisdom that could save your life tomorrow.